All right, 3-2 Blitz. Gonna try to apply the golden rules of the Colle system and see what we get for a position. And then we'll guess the ELO. All right, so we'll see if they, okay, we transpose back into the Colle. So remember, we don't play C3 until they play C5. So they played C5, so we're gonna play C3. That's one golden rule. Kind of looking like we might be heading into a main line here. All right, knight B to D2. We're going to castle, then we're going to take here. And then we're going to bust. We get our E4 bust. And we're going to have the 3 to 2 pawn majority. So we're going right down the main line here. At least the way we play it, the traditional koltanowski Colle. Maybe in the future, after I play this for quite a while, I'll add in the Zuckertort where we develop our bishop that way. All right, let's see. Seems a little strange. I'm just going to take it and then get this bishop out here. Kind of clamp down on e5. I'm happy to have these queens trade. And I'm also not too worried about the two bishops. There's not a ton of material left. So I don't know if I played that right or not. That's kind of a... I felt like maybe he did something wrong, but, you know, then again, maybe he didn't. So, but we'll get this bishop off. If he takes, he'll fix our pawn structure. He probably won't do that, but then I'll probably play b4. I'm not sure. All right, so he didn't allow that. So if I take, yeah, I'm going to take. Then I'm going to march my king over. And so this is a little bit different. It's not quite as ideal as when we don't have this pawn weakness, but this still should favor us in the endgame. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to exchange once. If he exchanges, that's great. Our king is closer to the center, and we're the first ones to have a passed pawn. And we'll look to see what I should have done when he played bishop to d7. That felt off to me, and I maybe should have spent a little bit more time to figure out what I should have done there. But I kind of saw this, and it felt all right to me. Well, that's interesting. I think take here. And we create that pass pawn. I'm going to do it. Because now this pawn is going to be a weakness. And this helps us because he can't create this pass pawn now 3-on-3, even though we have this crippled pawn structure. So that's kind of the beauty of the Colle. See, this is going to go right down. Right? This is going to play right into our hands. Because we're going to force his king to run over to protect this passer, and then we can grab this and march our king over here. And a lot of times, like in this mainline Colle, it's that easy, even though I think I misplayed this slightly. See, he's going to run out of moves to make. And then at the opportune moment, I think maybe even now, yeah, maybe even now I push this. Yeah. We push that, we get these pawns established here, and then we can decide when we create that pass pawn. Now, see, he can't... We got to take our time here, though, and make sure we don't goof up. Two things. We could even probably do this, and then just sit here. And then just scoop them from behind. Just double calculate it, make sure it works. Here, here. See, he can't create a pass pawn. So we're actually going to do that. If he goes past it, we just sit there with these two. We create a passer, grab this, then go over and munch the pawns. So it's kind of a textbook mainline Colle. Right? You just got to make sure they can't create a passer. So now we go here. And see, he has to move. If he moves here, we push. And here. He's going to go here. We're going to push, get him further away, and then take, and then come around these up. All right, so he noticed that and resigned. So, boy, guessing his elo. Just flipping through this. Okay, here I don't think I probably should have taken there. I think I should have just played bishop to f4. And then maybe put my queen here and my rooks here. I don't know. I just sometimes it's easy to play a bit superficially because you get this 3-2 pawn majority, and the games often play out just as they did right here, you know, because they don't realize they're in danger, and like he kind of aided me later. So I'm gonna say 1750. So let me pull up an analysis board, and then we'll look at this one a little bit more. All right. Oh, wow. It was a close guess. 1740. 1740. And we played fairly well. Like I said, yeah, bishop c6 was a mistake. So we kind of already diagnosed that. But let's just flip through it. Look at our golden rules of the Colle. So we have our Colle structure. Now, we don't play c3 because it could just be a waste of time until our opponent plays c5. They put pressure on the center. Then we bolster our center. And this just goes right down the main line. And now we take, bishop takes. Our next golden rule of the Colle, when we can safely bust with e4, we do so. We can safely bust. We've established this 3-2 pawn majority, right? So now I want to try to figure out what we were supposed to do here. I believe bishop to f4. That's what I pointed at before. So yes, f4 is usually a good square for the bishop. And if we turn the engine on, yeah, we got like almost a full pawn advantage. So we can get these rooks to the center. And we still have this, and notice they don't have any defenders over by their king right now. And we have 3 pieces over on the king side. We can maybe put our queen there, storm the pawn. We can kind of respond to what they do. So I think this move I did in the game was actually a very poor move. But it still demonstrated kind of the core idea of the Colle system, which is this 3-2 pawn majority. And even though this was crippled, these pawns were crippled, it now says we're even instead of having a slight advantage like we would in the main lines. But we just kind of went about our business. You can see we're happy to go into the end game. We can't lose it, right? So, but you'll be surprised at this level how often you just win a drawn endgame. If we played a little bit more exact in the beginning, we probably would have got some pressure on the king side. and maybe even gotten an end game that was simply winning if we didn't have a damaged pawn structure. But this was actually kind of instructive too, because here we just saw the key idea. We want to create an outside passer, and that's how we ended up winning in the end, is we zip forward, and we just have to take a little bit of care to make sure that they can't create a breakthrough here and get a pass pawn. But we didn't, and we found this f4 move. Now I'd be curious. I think we can probably, we could get away with this too. It wouldn't really change much, and then eventually, they're either going to have to give ground with their king, or they might do something like this and let us just, pass the tempo on to us, and eventually we'll just grab that. So the whole idea, though, with this Colle, the 3-2, is to get in an endgame like this, where we get the outside passer and just win, because they have to run over and stop our pawn from promoting, and then we just munch all their pawns. Now this player quit before we actually got to execute that, but effectively we did, because when we in the game right here, now like if he would have taken, like we can just play pawn moves until he's forced to move away, and then we just grab this pawn, and then we just can munch everything. So anyway, a very, very typical game in the Colle system, and that's why I think it's kind of awesome. If they make all the kind of logical moves, they kind of go down this main line. This is the way that we play it in this repertoire. And like I said, I didn't say it yet, but there is a free fully annotated repertoire and a whole playlist that I link to if you want to learn this simple Colle. I love it. So anyway, we'll see you at the next video.